haven't met you yet. Hello.
No, not yet.
You probably actually chatted with her but didn't know it.
Probably. Yeah, probably. That's all right. That's quite all right. So, let's, now that we've introduced a little bit, introduce yourselves as well, and kind of start with that. You can talk just personally, professionally, however you guys want to do that. It's perfect with
Okay.
me.
So I'm Dina, founder of Botanical Bee. What personal? I have two beautiful daughters, two amazing grandsons, and I'm married to my high school sweetheart for 34 years.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive. Well done. Yes.
I'm Chris, and I'm the daughter, and I
Partner.
partner. I
Okay.
have her two beautiful grandsons.
Okay.
That's the extent of me, really.
And married.
It
And
is
married.
not the extent of you. It is maybe at the moment, but it is not the extent of you for sure. For
That's
sure.
what young moms say, right? I'm
Uh-huh.
just a mom.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, well, get over it because you're far more than that. So, we actually met via social media and such, which is pretty awesome, I think. And, one of those ways that is just, as much as we say about social media and all of that, I think it's a great way to connect. So thank you. Thank you guys.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I'm like the Fred Flintstone of social media.
Oh God.
I've never been on Facebook. I've never had a Facebook account. When we started this business, Chris was like, "Mom, you have to get on."
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, A, I don't know what I want to do. And B, I'm super personal. Private person.
Right.
And so,
Right.
I don't want to share myself on social media. But I have met some amazing people. Like we've made so many great connections.
Friends
I feel
and like people we would actually be friends with in real life.
Mm-hmm. That's how I
So
feel
it's
about it
actually-
too. Like it's weird, but it's good. It's super, super nice. Yeah.
so much better than I thought it was going to be.
That is wonderful to hear. Well, and I'm glad that I met now both of you as well. And I know I've seen the grandsons as well. So,
Oh yes.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. So, I'm not worried how you guys want to answer these questions either, whether you each want to or whether you want to switch back and forth. I'll leave that up to you guys. But first, I want to know, how can you be kinder to yourself?
I'm going to let Chris answer that one because she's a young mama. I feel like I'm pretty kind to myself. I've learned
Okay. Yep.
after raising two teenage daughters to be kind to myself so I didn't kill them or myself.
Right.
So-
Reasonable. Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to put you on the spot.
I am by no means an expert because I like most young moms, I don't do it myself. I can preach it all day long, but I don't do it.
Got it.
I think the number one thing is to forgive yourself. It's hard as a young mom, especially during a pandemic and owning a business, and like there's so much that I start feeling guilty for that. My 4-year-old can't fully read like the other 4-year-old I met. Or I snapped at my kids yesterday, or like it's things like that I normally beat myself up for, and I'm trying to remember to forgive myself because they forgive me, and a lot of these expectations are my own, and
Right.
if they're not living up to it, it's not their fault. They're little, or I just have to be more understanding, I guess,
towards yourself,
towards myself,
gentle,
yes.
gentle with yourself, right?
Yeah, and it's important to remember that you can't pour from an empty cup, and I do that a lot. I pour from a very empty cup far too often, and I'm finally realizing that that's not the way to live. So you have to give yourself time, you have to give yourself credit, you have to give yourself forgiveness, and it's important to take time and don't worry about the dishes and the laundry. Just play with your littles and enjoy life, is. It goes way too fast.
So are you actually doing that?
I'm getting better. Still not quite there, but I'm trying.
Okay.
It's a hard habit to break. I'm the person that is used to taking care of everybody and everything.
Yeah.
I'll stay up late to do it, and so it's hard to remind myself, to go to bed early and give myself that time, or give myself a certain amount of time every day to do something for myself. But I am trying. It's a work in progress.
She has the mom who would watch her kids anytime, and she rarely leaves them. That's what I get on her about, leaving her kids more, because you have to have your own time, right?
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard to ask for help, though, when you know you can do it all yourself. Should you? Maybe not, but...
No, it's not. You know what? I have been finding in life that it is fine. I'm finally, and maybe some of it for me is I'm surrounding myself now with people that I know want to support me. And so I have the trust in that, and they actually do it, and I feel better with it. And beyond that, listen to your mom. Right?
I mean, I tell my kids to listen to their mom, but that's different.
No, it's
I
not.
learned those lessons the hard way.
How else are your kids going to learn apart from example?
I know.
And that's why my daughter is the way she is, because I was bad about taking time for myself until they were teenagers and making me crazy.
Right.
That's when I got into yoga or started like getting hobbies, because I knew I needed me time.
Right.
And so she learned that from me. It's the truth, but
it's all right. That's all right. Okay, so maybe one of the fun things you could do is, are you a concert going person, or one or both of you? So what is the favorite concert you've ever been to?
Oh, I've been to a lot. My husband and I are like total live music people. My favorite concert would have to be Beck at Brooklyn Bowl in Las Vegas, which is a pretty small venue. And I had heard some like kind of negative things about him before going. And so I really I liked his music, and that's why I wanted to go. But I heard he was kind of a prima donna, like was late going on stage, and that was not the case. He was on time. He was amazing. Like, it's a small venue, and that hands down would be probably my favorite show, just because it was so intimate.
Wow.
I'm a huge concert goer, thanks to my parents. And that's a tough one. I've seen a lot of bands that sometimes I forget I've even seen. I think I would have to say Michael Franti. I've seen him, I think, 3 times now.
Okay.
One of them being a small, intimate place up in Alaska that was really neat to see him. And then once with my son, who's now 4, he was 2 at the time.
Yeah.
He was 2 at the time, and oh my gosh, he danced his little heart out.
Wow.
He danced until he literally made himself sick. And he just was a crazy fool with all these other little kids there, and he had so much fun. He's our concert buddy, and we love to take him. So I think that's my best. He's a great artist, great music. He has a positive message in a lot of his songs, and then, just to have that connection with my son, I think made it a little extra special.
That is fun. And has your son only been one time, or just the one time, or has he been the couple times too?
He went to Beck at the Gorge with us. He saw Michael Franti. We took him to the Violent Femmes at the Seattle Zoo.
My son saw the Violent Femmes too at the at the base of Mount Hood, whatever that bowl is there. He saw them there, and
they're really fun.
I saw them when I was young.
I saw them when I was young too, and I almost died at the concert because it was when the pit was still really dangerous, and there were knives being thrown, and I almost got trampled because I'm really short. And luckily, my friend's brother grabbed me by my hair and the back of my neck and pulled me up and over the crowd and got me out of there. So that
Wow.
was my violent femmes the first violent femmes experience.
Which was violent.
It really was violent. Way oversold, small venue in Portland, way too many drugs by everyone, just a huge experience of music and danger for me. But
it's funny how they progressed, because we went to the Seattle Zoo where there were hundreds of families,
Yeah,
everybody was dancing and having a great time.
Although they did still play their one song that you had to kind of.
Yeah, they did earmuff songs.
Yeah. One.
No, this was not, and I don't. I can't remember who it was that opened up for them, but that's when they did a lot of their really, really hardcore songs too. It was an intense show. It really was.
Like it.
Yeah, but I'm probably showing my age then as well of how long ago I saw them. So.
Well, and when I first saw them, they played with the B-52s.
You were 7.
I was little, so.
Yeah.
She did not really see the Violent Femmes, though.
I went to the same concert.
Her dad and I took turns taking her out for that set, and she saw the B-52, so.
Got it.
We weren't that bad.
Got it. I'm making zero judgment at all on any of this. My son has seen all kinds of crazy stuff music wise. He asked the other day, he's like, Mom, because he is a musician but is not into this kind of music. He's a metal drummer, so he is pretty hardcore with what he does. And so we've been to a lot of really intense metal shows as well. But one time he's like, Mom, do I know anything about the Grateful Dead? I'm like, yeah, you've actually seen the Grateful Dead right after you were born. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. He's like, do I know anything? That's funny.
Yes, you do, son. And I think it's one of the sets when they did Truckin' as well, which is never done. So he saw them in in Eugene at Autzen Stadium. So, it's kind of cool for him.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah. So what, if anything, would you like to relive in life?
Oh gosh.
I don't know.
That's a hard question.
I feel like that's a loaded question.
Yeah. To relive. Would you have to just pick one thing? I mean, honestly, I guess I would probably say my 25th anniversary trip. It was my first time to Europe, my first time to Italy. It was like my most memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything was fun, everything was great. I would say that.
Okay. That's an okay one. Yeah.
Before the Cinque Terre got really popular, so it was still really quiet, little villages. I've heard it's a lot bigger now.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know that I have. I mean, again, a loaded question. If I say nothing, then was nothing worth reliving.
Right.
But
do we need to have your mom plug her ears?
No.
No.
I'm a pretty well-behaved person for the most part. But I mean, I don't know. I have fun at concerts. I've had a couple fun trips, but my kids being newborn in a weird way, maybe I miss that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Loaded question for me. I don't know.
It's all right. Well, if there's one thing you could do for 48 hours, what would that be?
Mine would be live music. I love to go to
multi-day concerts.
We go to lots of not recently, but multi-day where you camp out, and that's my jam, my fun.
I would do that for 48 hours.
Or kayak. I would kayak for 48 hours, kayaking camp.
Okay, what do you do? What kind of kayaking? River or on lake and that type of thing?
Just lake, calm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have a sit on top. So paddleboard or kayak on calm water for me.
Got it. I just started doing paddleboarding last year, and I like it.
I do too. You know what I like about it
What?
is you have to be 100% there. Like on my kayak, I can still look at my phone,
Uh-huh.
or
Uh-huh.
like on a paddleboard, unless you want to fall off, like you have to be
Uh-huh.
present. And you
Yeah.
can't look at your phone. You can't do it. That's what I like about it. It forces you
Mm-hmm.
to be present.
Have you ever tried yoga on it?
Yes, I have.
Did you
And
do very well with that the first time?
I didn't fall off. We didn't do full yoga. It was with our youngest daughter.
Okay.
We went to see her when she lived in Montana.
Mm-hmm.
And we went for a full day with some friends of hers and just did not like a whole class or anything, some poses.
Right.
I didn't fall off, which that's a bonus,
Good.
but
Good.
it was very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Like way more challenging than you think.
Yeah. I'm shaking my head because I'm aware I did not go in, but I almost went in. Almost.
Right?
Almost lost it, and I looked like a massive jackass. But...
That's what I mean. I'm trying to do down dog and like tree pose, and I'm like, oh, I must just look like I'm drunk or,
the fear of it, just like, no! How silly you look. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad nobody recorded that.
But
Yeah.
Right.
I know. It's a rough one.
Maybe I'm out on the internet somewhere.
You might be.
Look at this chick.
What a fool. I haven't seen it. I will let you know if I do. How's that sound? Yeah.
Please do.
Perfect. All right. Do either one of you have an absurd habit?
I have multiple.
Okay. Well, then share as many as you would like.
Probably my most absurd habit, or like I'm super fastidious, like super clean about certain things. Like we'd never wear our shoes in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's weird for a lot of people when they come to my house. And I try, like, I'll say, we take off our shoes, but you don't have to. But when I go to their house, I always take off my shoes. And I think it makes people feel weird and uncomfortable. But we've always done it. Like ever since the girls were little. I don't know why. We've just always done it. And so now Chris does it. And actually both my girls do it. And I think that people can't really relate to that. They're like, what? Like, I don't understand. Why do you take your shoes off? And
because we're Americans. That's why we leave our shoes on when we walk in the house, and it's weird to take your shoes off in someone's house.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your weirdest habit?
I mean, I'm gonna say that plus 10. Like, I mean, partially from having little kids, partially from growing up with you. I don't know. I'm OCD in weird ways, like no shoes in the house. Everything has to have a place. I cannot go to bed if my house is not at least picked up.
Or there's dishes in the sink.
Well, yeah. Like I just won't sleep. So there are certain things that like have to be done every night before bed. Everything has a place. I'm a little extremely organized, some would say. I don't normally have organized chaos. It's like organized.
Okay.
So I think that's my weird habit that make people crazy. And I can't stand cabinets and drawers open. Like it will make me crazy.
Okay. I am a controlled chaos, and I am trying to get the other way a little bit more. I have a hard time if things are not in place and I don't have a place to put them, then they're nicely stacked.
Oh no.
Yeah, it sounds like that would drive you crazy.
Yes.
I'm that way, and it makes her crazy. She comes into the studio and she's like, Mom, we got to clean up this space before we can get to work. And I'm like, what's wrong with that? I'll get to it later. I know where it is.
Yeah.
No, that'll make me super crazy. I'll organize for you anytime. No, I like thrive on it. It's my dirty pleasure.
My dirty pleasure.
Have you seen any of those shows, the Netflix type things of organizing Yeah.
They almost make me a little too crazy though, because then I feel like I want to go do them all to my house. but then you've got to buy all the supplies and the
right. You could get like
so it's
crazy.
a little. So
It's a bit much. Yeah.
Yes, it can be.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Envy. It's only envy though, because I want it.
That's a good point. Yes. Okay. All right. So, do you have a favorite indulgence then? Maybe organizers.
I'm pretty good at reusing things. I
Mhm.
think that comes from you too.
Repurposing.
Repurposing. So I'll repurpose bins and boxes and totes and things like that. So I don't really have a weird indulgent for those.
Mine's not weird. I would say mine is yoga or welding, maybe.
Okay.
Is when both of those things, like for me, when you weld or when you are doing yoga, like you have to be completely present. And I think that is super therapeutic for me, because if I'm not doing something where I have to pay attention, then my mind is all over the place. I'm thinking of a million things I have to do. So it's really hard for me to relax and let go.
Okay. So with the business, since you guys are partners with it, who does what? It just dawned on me. Who does what in the business? Who designs? Because you guys make your own and design your own products.
That's Mom. Mom's the brains behind most things.
Okay.
She's spent a lot of years doing this for herself and for our family and everything. So she's the brains behind the research and the products and ingredients, sourcing.
Chris definitely keeps me organized, on my feet, on task.
Okay.
I'm a list maker.
Okay. Well, it makes sense then how it works so well and how it all moves together with that. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're definitely like two puzzle pieces. Like
And by the sounds of it, you get along as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're any mother-daughter or friend, duo. We have our moments, but of course, like anybody. But
I think we're pretty good about like telling each other,
knock it off, or
right. Like even this morning, Chris came in and she was like ready to go. Like, all right, what do you? And I'm just like, you need to chill out because I need a minute. And she's like, whoa, okay.
See, but I'm a list maker. Like before I can have my minute, I need my list so I know what to do. Like,
but we just tell each other and then get over it because I mean, it's not personal, right? Like everyone has a bad moment, a bad day.
Yeah.
Or
or just isn't ready, or
just not that moment, but you're fine once you move through it all. Yeah, that's wonderful. So YouTube, do you have any like things you get sucked into watching, especially like the weird ones? Like lately I've been having more and more clients tell me they're watching the earwax removal.
Oh, so I personally don't really watch TV or anything.
If she did, she would 100% watch that stupid
The Pimple Show.
Zit popper doctor.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think Sandra Lee is her name. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. She's the famous one.
I really should have been like an esthetician because I like to pick.
No, you can't pick. Being an esthetician does not mean you can pick. It means you train people to not pick.
You need to be a dermatologist to pick all the things.
Or like an emergency room nurse. Like I like when I was a kid, I could watch open heart surgery on TV and I loved it. Like anything gory or gross or
Well, have you gone to like a cadaver class?
I did take anatomy and physiology and the thing that got me when I took that class was, it's been a million years, but was the smell of formaldehyde.
Oh
yeah, that's bad.
It like permeates your nasal cavity and
you can taste
can't
it.
get it out of there. That was the hardest part for me.
Yeah.
What's your guilty pleasure to watch? I know you have to have one.
I watch mindless TV. I like
Uh-huh.
those binge-worthy, stupid shows like The Office. I'm a guilty
Okay.
pleasure.
Okay.
Anything crime,
Mm.
true or false.
Okay.
Cop shows and some of the doctor shows. I don't know, just those mindless things that kind of get you sucked into these characters and
Yeah.
makes me feel like a police officer or a detective. I love when I can be like, oh, this is about to happen. It really happens. But that's about it. I try not to watch too much TV, but that's my, folding laundry guilty pleasures.
I stretch during those. And that
Do what?
I stretch. I move my body. I get down on the floor and I watch brainless TV so that
Yes.
I don't have to like pay attention to the show, but I still want to move my body and I can, that's when I can really, really engage with my body a lot.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
a
like
great
it.
idea.
I approve of brain dead TV, just not all the time to avoid life.
Right. Absolutely.
I guess I listen to books. So like when I'm doing
Oh.
the dishes or cooking dinner, my husband's watching whatever he's watching, I listen to books.
Yep. Okay.
Historical fiction usually.
Yeah. Where do you get the books?
So that's interesting because I did have Audible, but
Mhm.
I don't want to pay $15 a month. I'm just cheap, I guess. I don't know. It bugs me.
Mhm.
So I've been getting them from the library.
Yeah.
Our library here has like, they don't have everything you want, but
They have quite a few.
I mean, and I like historical fiction. And so there's like a plethora of historical fiction out there. Some good, some not so good, but that's, I've been getting a lot from there and it's free. So
that
anything.
is the perfect way to do it then. Absolutely. Right? I think. Yeah. And our libraries really need support anyways. So I think it's great to continue to support them. So well done. I like it.
It's funny you say that because our library stopped charging late fees. And so I just made a donation.
Yeah.
Because I was like, where are you going to get your money if you're not charging late fees? Like, I mean, that's nice, but so I just like made a donation to them.
So was that just because of COVID that they quit charging?
It was before that.
Yeah.
I can't remember what their reasoning was.
I think they thought two things. I'm trying to remember because they did ask. I think they thought it would detract, like people wouldn't want to borrow if they, they're just like, I can't get it back to you on time. And it makes them like nervous. So they just don't go to the library. And also because then they just never get their books back at all.
Right.
Because people they don't want to go pay the $150 for a $10 book.
Right.
Or whatever. So they just figured they'd try the nice way and say, just please bring our book back.
That works. I know our library quit doing late fees just because of COVID. And they said, we don't want donations either. Because I was late. I'm like, well, I'll just give them money. I don't care. I think a $5 donation, because my book is late, is nothing, really.
Right.
And they said, no, we don't even want them now. So.
No.
I know. I just kind of left it for the time being and figured when they're opened up again, I'll just go in and give them money and deal with it.
Right. They'll have like some sort of money drive or something.
Yeah.
And you can just
I'll just deal with it later. So.
Right.
So have you guys, and I'm super curious about this one, have you ever had any bad advice, Chris?
Given to us, you mean?
That you hear, that people have said, something that maybe you grew up with, anything.
You can say something I gave
Chris, did
No,
mom give you bad advice?
No, I mean, of course, I'm sure I've gotten bad advice. Did any stick with me? Not so much. I don't know if I would call it advice. You've got the typical, everybody wants to give their parenting advice to you all the time,
right,
or opinion, so I get lots of advice that way from friends, family, you know, oh, you should do this. Oh, don't do this with your kids. And I mean, I just take it all with a grain of salt and pick what I want. But
Right.
some of it's absurd, sure, yeah.
What's the most absurd one you've had?
Man, I don't know. You know, I think most recently my least favorite has just been my littlest has eczema, and we discovered it. He was about 2 months, 3 months, and it flared up, and I tried to cut just about everything I could think of out of my diet. So I was soy-free, gluten-free,
dairy-free,
vegan, no cashews, pistachios, or mangoes because he was allergic to those. I was vacuuming twice a day. Like, I was doing everything I could. And just to have people tell me that it wasn't food related when I could prove the correlation, or that he'll grow out of it, it's fine, don't change your diet, or put him on farm. I think that one got me the most. Like, a lot of people tried to convince me to go formula, and I think that was the hardest thing for me is I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm doing what I think is best for my child.
Right.
Please just support that. You know, even still, he's almost 2, and I've slowly been reintroducing foods to him and myself. But there are still things I do not let him have. Like, dairy is one that I know I don't even think it messes with his eczema. It makes him colicky and angry. And people still try to give him dairy. And I'm like, for the love of God, like, you can give him these other things. Don't give him the dairy. Oh, he'll be fine. Okay, well, then you stay up with him all night because I'm not doing it.
Yeah. You deal with this.
Yeah. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. A little won't hurt him. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Well, and Rick, too. I mean, they all do it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
They mean well, but, you know, I got it. We're good.
Yeah.
It doesn't need that big, huge scoop of ice cream.
Yep. Thank you for help. That's it. Okay, so, Gina, do you have any good ones?
I hated, well, I don't know that I've ever been given any bad advice, except I hate it when people say, like, just let it go.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'd say that to you.
You do.
I know.
You do say that a lot to me.
And it's easy to say, right? And hard to do. Like, people
well, it's easy to preach anything, right? Like, I can preach all day long to do something, but do it myself.
But when you feel bad about something, or someone like losing a relationship or whatever it is, and people are like, oh, just let it go. And you're like, I can't.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, I think probably because for me, I've done so much with the, I mean, I'm not just an esthetician in work for me. So a huge portion of it is guiding people through things like that. So I think I hear that one a lot, and I know how people respond with it, but it is an interesting one though, because really it is best to just move on. I mean, that's the best thing to do, but when you're in the moment, you don't want to just hear that. That's for sure, because that's annoying, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, see, now that it's brought out in the open, you will be able to work with it, right?
You know, there's a book that I love, You Are a Badass.
Oh.
And she has a whole chapter in there about just letting it go. And I do go back and listen to that sometimes when I need to, because she gives like some really good advice, like go scream into a pillow.
Right.
Go have yourself a crying, screaming tantrum. Punch some pillows. You know, like she gives you like all these things you can do. And then she explains, you know, why you might, that's like my favorite like self-help book, because it really is just about like realizing. She'll say, you know, it's not about you feeling better. You want them to feel bad. They made you feel bad. And then when you can put it in that perspective, you're like, oh, it's true. And I should just let it go. And it makes it a little easier for me.
Right. Right. This goes great with my next question, which is what are 3 books that you've read that really influenced you the most or that you have reread? So by the sounds of it, if you could let me know again who that is, that title of that book and the author, that would be great.
It's You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, I think.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Really popular one.
Yeah, it's like the only self-help book I've read, and I actually really love it. Other books I've read, God, there are so many because I am a total bookworm. It's really hard for me to pick my favorites because I reread a lot of books.
What's your favorite genre then?
Historical fiction.
Oh, you said that. Sorry. Yes.
Yep. Okay. I loved Poisonwood Bible because she does the voices of the characters so well in the book and in the audiobook. One of my favorite authors who really like got me into reading was Wallace Stegner.
Okay.
I read Angle of Repose, I don't know, 10 times. I like that book too. Okay. What about you?
See, this is where we are so different. I love books, but it goes back to that mindless. I like the
fantasy, or
not even fantasy. Like
they're brainless. Chicklet.
Yeah. I loved. Oh my gosh, Janet Ivanovich or whatever had these like. What were they called? It was like a
series.
A chick bounty hunter. Like she totally fell into the series, and she was or into the job, and she was really kind of crappy at it, but it worked, and it was dramatic. And I loved, and I've read several times, The Art of Racing in the Rain. Okay. And A Dog's Purpose. They're dog books, and they'll make you cry your eyes out. But I love them.
You love The Secret Life of Addie LaRue.
I did like that one.
That's one of the ones that we recently both listened to and loved.
Okay.
Or Hannah, what's her name? Kristen Hanna.
Kristen Hanna. She does historical fiction a lot.
Okay.
The Great Alone, which was about Alaska, which resonated with me because I lived up there for a couple years.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But as far as like, I don't know, that's about all I could give you. It's that mindless drama series. Like,
I love them. Absolutely love mindless.
That's your genre too?
No, I have a few like sci-fi type ones, and I read a lot for work. So I have tons and tons and tons of different self-help ones because that's work. But certain sci-fi and then brainless chicklet. I love it. Absolutely love it.
I like the self-help, and I have a ton of those, and I have a ton of, especially recently, like raising kids, like how to do it the best way without yelling at them or hindering their growth, or, like the whole brainchild. And I just can't really get into them. I always go back to my brainless, like,
well, that's what your body needs then, right?
Yeah.
Or you have gotten me into the historical fiction, the World War II one, the Mockingbird one.
Oh,
lately.
yeah. I don't know I can't remember what that was called, but
Nightingale.
That was good.
Just so some of those, like, they're historical fiction. So I have, but it always goes back to the mindless.
I just listened to a series of 3 books. There's 6, but the library only had 3. And it was so interesting because I'd never listened to this period of time. It's like the 1500s, and it's about Henry VIII's 6th wife. So I listened to the first 3. So it was Queen Catherine of Aragon. And it's funny listening to that book because you listen to it and you think you have this opinion, right? About Henry and about Anne Boleyn, which was his 2nd wife, which we all know, she lost her head.
Right.
It's funny because I told my husband, not only did I learn a lot about that time period, but I hated Anne Boleyn. I'm like, oh my God, she was like evil. And then you listen to Anne Boleyn and you're like, well, it really wasn't her fault. Like, how can she, like, the king wants her to be his mistress. She can't say no. And then you end up, liking her until you read Jane Seymour, which was his 3rd wife. And then you're like, oh, Anne Boleyn was really evil. And so you're like, there's 2 sides to every story, right?
Absolutely.
I enjoyed that because I was like, wow, you really, until you hear that other person's point of view,
Mm-hmm.
you think which side you're on, and then you hear the other side and you're like, oh my gosh, now maybe I'm over here. Wait, now
Right.
I'm over here. It's just interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. I like that. I like it. Um,
Yeah, it was a life lesson,
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
right?
So
You're
tell
gonna
me
be
about
around.
food. What's your favorite food? Do you go out to eat it? Do you cook it at home? What is it?
My favorite food, hands down, is almost any ethnic food, but Thai food.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, a restaurant in Las Vegas called David Wong's Pan Asian.
Okay.
I would literally fly to Vegas just to eat their food.
Really?
I will absolutely second that.
Huh. Huh.
Just a little, like, I don't know if
Mom and pop.
Yeah, mom and pop's better.
Yeah.
Just a little, like, not on the strip. Nobody, like, it's not a super well known, like, the locals know it, but beyond that, it's kind of a hidden gem, and it's life changing for sure.
And she actually lived in Vegas, and we went there, I don't know, sometimes 4 times a week, sometimes more. And when we told them we were moving, they were really sad. And I joked with her and said, you know, you're just gonna, I'll come work for free if you just teach me how to make my favorite dishes. And she just said, come on Sunday and I'll teach you. And she did.
Wow.
But I can't do it like she does.
Yeah, that's normally the case, isn't it? Yeah. So I went to a really small hole in the wall pho type, so would have been similar, that was in Vegas as well. But I don't think it was the same name. It had some kind of name that sounded like you were on Fu King Road. But but it was like that as well. So
Yeah.
and it was very, very, very good.
Yeah, I miss Vegas for the food.
I'm not fond of Vegas at all.
No. We lived there for 10 years.
Oh. Wow.
And I will say I did not want to go. And my first question, which I know is going to sound completely ridiculous, but I think is reasonable, is where do people live in Vegas? Because when you go to Vegas, you just go to the strip.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know where to look for a house. But my husband had a job opportunity, and so we moved, and we both loved it. We loved it. We were ready to go after 10 years. That was enough.
So what did you love so much about it, though?
You know, we just fell into like a really great group of friends. I think you probably got the sense that we're pretty outdoorsy. We camp, we hike.
Yeah.
There's way more of that than you realize.
Okay, that's what I've heard, but I wasn't sure. Yeah.
And once you plug into Vegas, there's lots of underground kind of activities that as a tourist you wouldn't know about, but there's something going on all the time. I mean, the music or the shows, like you can always be entertained if you want to be, but you don't have to be. You can go to Red Rocks or Valley of Fire and hike. We did some great full moon kayaks, you know, out on Lake Mead.
It was the Spasmatics.
Oh yeah, Spasmatics in Las Vegas.
An 80s like cover band. I mean, that was my favorite thing. That when I would fly down to see them, we had to go see the Spasmatics. It was so much fun.
Well, because I'm 80s girl and they grew up listening to my music. So.
Yeah, yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I have not found. I've been to, I try and go to not the strip. I do the strip because it's kind of like what you do, but I like to find the everyday local kind of places. And I found some, but I still nothing enough to get me to move there. That's for sure. But
if you go visit again, just contact me and I'll give you a list of stuff to check out.
Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely.
A different side.
Absolutely. So we're going to go from food, and both being parents, you'll get this one, especially of boys. But foods to farts. Are they funny or not? Or, you know,
They're not funny to me.
they're
And
not.
the
No.
only reason we say that, look,
I think they're embarrassing. Like, I
Okay.
don't want anybody, I don't fart ever.
Okay.
they're a normal part of life. Like, it happens. Right?
It doesn't
Like,
happen to me.
Got it. Got
I
it.
have a feeling you're so full of it, but okay. But it's
You know who we need to ask is your husband. He will say, because you fart in your sleep
Yes.
most
No,
likely.
wait. Dad might be the wrong person to ask because Dad just likes to poke the bear. So,
Okay.
and Dad cannot smell. He lost his sense of smell when he popped his head years ago. And so he cannot smell. So he will tell you that his farts don't stink.
They do.
They do. They
Okay.
absolutely do.
Okay.
My kids, of course, now think it's hilarious. My 4-year-old just started, he'll fart on me and go, ha ha, I farted on you. And I'm like, oh man. My almost 2-year-old, his dad started teaching him the pull my finger thing.
Mhm.
And he can't really say much, right? He's 18 months. So he goes, whoa. So he thinks it's funny. So now my whole family thinks it's funny. So they're normal part of life, but they're gross. They're loud. They always smell worse than you think they smell. Like,
But even like burps, like I don't burp. I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh.
You're a burper, and you think it's funny.
I do
That
think
one
it's
you can relate
hilarious.
to.
Burps are funny. I agree.
Well, and especially a girl that can burp like a dude. Like, I don't know. My dad and I have just always had burping contests, and I can always win. And even my son thinks it's hilarious. So,
Around my
I guess I'm just
household,
like
I've
that.
been called Barney from The Simpsons.
Oh, see, my husband just says I'm calling the moose.
That's a good one. I like that. I do. I like that one. Yes, I do.
Moose. It's funny.
Okay, so like that freight train of creativity, and I could probably gather already who is going to talk more with answering this one. But how do you deal with that? And that spark, that your creative spark that gets you going. And oftentimes, if you don't get it out, you're lost. So how do you deal with that?
I assume you thought I was going to talk.
I did. Yes.
Well, that's where I get myself in trouble. I usually it depends on what it is, right? But if it's skincare, which I'm pretty passionate about, I'll just go lock myself in the studio and make a million batches of something and then make everyone in my house try it.
Okay.
Or research for hours and hours.
Yeah.
One new
Ingredient.
Or
Okay.
And I get myself in trouble because like I'll lose time, or my husband will tell me like, you have to don't stop adding new products, because then it's more for you to make and keep on hand, and right. And that's hard for me. I want to keep like expanding and sharing, and that's hard for me.
Okay.
What about you? What do you?
mine would be more like the photography thing. Like when I start thinking of pictures and ideas, I'd like to just bust them out. Sometimes a list will suffice, but usually I just have to physically do them. And so I like taking huge batches of pictures at once with, 20 different props or whatever, so that I can use them later down the line. But if I have that spark, that freight train coming through, then everything else goes to the wayside. My kids get, here are some cars, play with these. I got to go take pictures. Or, my oldest actually is really helpful at helping me take pictures now. But,
so
normally
you're the one that takes all the photos?
Most of them.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very reasonable. I like it. What does love mean to you?
Chris, just love me. I think for me personally, what love means to me is trying to be a better person for that other person. And believe me, I wasn't always like that.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I was a lot more selfish, but I think trying to remember that I want to be better for my husband, for my girls, for my grandkids. That doesn't mean being perfect, because nobody's perfect. And,
right.
It just means like stopping sometimes when you're annoyed by something and thinking like, am I really annoyed with that person? Or is it just stuff that's going on with me? So just trying to be a better person for the people that I love.
I think mine is love to me is being kind and forgiving and thoughtful and caring and all of those things, but also teaching other people to be that way or encouraging them to be that way. I love my kids by trying to listen to them and guide them and help them, but also teaching them to do things for themselves or to and for other people. I kind of pride myself in trying to raise good, kind human beings. And to me, that's what love is loving yourself and your friends and family and other people enough to give yourself and be better and teach and help others along the way to try to do the same.
So would you say that these are all things that you could wrap up as well as what inspires you to love yourself more? Kids, by the sounds of it, is a common theme between both of you.
Yeah, kids definitely change things for you.
Mine is like going back to yoga. Just because for me, that's kind of self-love, like taking that hour, go down to the studio and just like do yoga and not think about anything else. And, I was really good for like a lot of years. And then I got out of it for no other reason than I just stopped doing it. And I kept, telling myself I knew I needed to get back into it, but just not doing it. And then just recently, my husband and I took a week and went to the beach. He had to work most of the time. But I did some yoga and got back into it and realized like how much better I feel about myself, towards other people. Just, it was a great reminder that I need that time.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how you do really need to not be selfish, not that egotistical selfishness, but just that, no, right now it's time for me. That type of selfish. I never think that's the best word for it, but it's what so many people can understand. You just keep the ego out of it, and you do it because it's important and it inspires you.
I just call it self-care because, it's an hour. It's 1 hour out of my day.
Right.
And it makes me such a better person. It makes me so much nicer to myself and other people. Like the way that my body responds to it, I know how much I need it. I have scoliosis, and so otherwise, my body will just really hurt. And I can't believe that I let it go for so many years. It's so ridiculous to me that I did that. So
we all need the reminders again. Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah. Well, that's about it for me with my questions, other than I am just so happy to finally connect with you both. Now I know, who maybe a little bit more of who I'm talking with when we do.
We usually try to say like, because we both monitor our Instagram account. And so we'll usually try to say like, this is Chris or this is Dina.
Or so I try to stay out of conversations that are typically between her and someone else. So normally I think with your guys' I don't jump in too often just because I know you guys already have that connection. And
well, I was in the beginning, I'm like, who am I talking with? What is going on here? I just needed a little bit of clarification for myself. So
yeah. Well, we can pretty typically go seamlessly between each other and you'll never even know that you were talking to somebody else.
I figured. I know. I just remembered something too. I'm a part of an organic skincare group that is on Facebook, and someone in there the other day was doing, they were wanting either mom and grandma or mom daughter teams. And so I listed you guys. I hope that they reach out because it sounded like they were putting together a whole, like a whole interview type of thing of businesses set up that way. So I hope they reach out to you guys for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool because I think it's, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's becoming more commonplace, but I think it's kind of rare, right? To have a mom daughter.
Woman owned is becoming more popular, but to have families in it together is, I think, rare.
It is. It is. Well, I know I'm super happy to have met both of you finally and to connected, that now knowingly anyway. So thank you so much for your time too.
Yeah, the feeling is mutual. Like I look at your stuff on Instagram and it's exactly the kind of stuff we would want to do. Like your week-long kayaking camping trip. I'm so jealous.
That was a fun one. My husband and I just went to the Oregon-Nevada border to a hot springs, which was super nice. We're big, massive hot springs fans, and it was good.
So check out Surprise Valley.
In Nevada?
Yeah, well, I actually think it's in California.
We were just looking. It's off of 95 on the way to Winnemucca, right?
No. So this is, I'd have to pull up a map. It is outside of Alturas, California.
Okay.
So it's probably, was it 4 hours from Reno? 4 hours from Reno? I can't remember. I mean, it's a drive. But if you ever have an opportunity, it is a little motel. Probably 7 rooms.
Okay.
Each kind of has like a cool little theme, like some of those do. But the coolest part is every single room has its own private hot tub in the back that they fill up with the mineral water.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And I think it's in Cedarville, California, I think.
Okay. I will definitely look into that one. Because we go to Crystal Crane, which is just outside of Burns, which has that type of idea too, which is nice. I
like having it in your room where you don't have to go to like a communal.
Yeah,
pond.
It's pretty awesome. There's another one, Twin Springs, on the way to Atlanta here in Idaho, which is a good one. It's another nice one to go to.
Good. I'll have to message you and get all those.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I love them. Hot springs make me happy. I always say it that I'm laying in the warmth of the womb of Mother Nature.
Right?
I know. They're wonderful.
So I grew up in Reno. And there's Gerlach. I don't know if you've ever heard of Gerlach, which is in the Black Rock Desert, like out like you're going towards Burning Man, where Burning Man is.
Yeah.
And it was great. When I was a kid, we used to camp out there all the time. And I mean, they eventually shut it down because it was too dangerous. I mean, they had boiling water streams that people would go put their cans of food in to warm them up.
Yeah.
And I mean, I actually burned my foot when I was little pretty bad. But that was awesome. My sister would like dive down and bring up the mud and put it all over her face. And so I grew up doing that.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, I love that stuff. So my cousin lives in Reno now. So we're in the process of making plans to meet somewhere in the middle, somewhere between Boise and Reno, and do camping in hot springs.
Not be in the middle, but it's pretty dang cool.
Okay, I'll check into it for sure. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And I'll let you know these other places that I was talking about too. Because I always do, at the end of this, I do a list of things that we talk about. So that we can help other people too.
Well, awesome. Thanks for your time. It was fun.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Much appreciated. And I know that we will talk soon, okay?
Thanks.
Okay, bye guys.